Well, Mr. Joseph Anderson joins us here this morning from the Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home. Joe, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
First of all, we got to talk about this. Congratulations. There's sort of been a changing of the guard at the Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, and this has been in place now for a while, but kind of tell us about some of the changes that have been going on.
Yeah, first, just want to say that I've had funerals that are more hopeful than that forecast you just read, because that's not good for golf. That's not good for anything.
No, not at all.
So brief history on the Garrett Funeral Home. My grandfather came to work here in 1957 for Mr. E.A. Peterson. Mr. Peterson unfortunately passed away not long into my grandfather being here. So he operated the funeral home as the manager until 1965, bought the business from Mrs. Peterson in 1965, ran it until, early to mid-2000s, and my uncle Todd Garrett bought the business from him. But my grandfather worked, they weren't in Florida, he was always there, and he always liked, it was his passion, he enjoyed being there. Todd always told us that he didn't want that for us. He wanted a succession plan, and so that he would not be there when he's 80 years old working the door, and so we've stuck to that. And so last year, January 1, 2024, he officially handed the reins over to his son, my cousin Jack Garrett, and myself. So we have been buying the business from him. He's off doing other exciting things, and so that's been the, certainly a new adventure. You're used to one person, leading the charge, and now we're there, but trying to make decisions.
You also have some great staff members who have been there for a long time that I'm sure
Jay
provide
Pertz
some advice.
Jay Pertz has been there for over 40 years, and I told him he can never retire. He has to be there. Mark Hopwood's been there for many years, a funeral assistant. My mom, she is, she gave me my allowance when I was 10. She still pays me today. Thankfully, she does all the book work and the accounting, and so be lost without all the people that help. But so it's a.
Basically, it's a very family run business. From that perspective, when you look at family, even Jay and Mark, they're family, right? And the friendliness that you're providing those folks that are coming through the door, and probably a very tough, time for them. That's very important to you to continue that tradition, isn't it?
Yeah, we love our community. We're all involved in different things, whether it's church or, as we were just talking earlier, Little League. These are our friends or our family, extended family. So we want everyone to, there's a saying by Dr. Alan Wolford, who's an author on grief psychology, and he says, when death occurs, we are all unprepared. We just can't really prepare fully. And so we hope to be the place that when that happens, you come and at least you feel comfortable, us, we're friends, and that eases the burden a little bit of what you're going through. So,
some additional things that might be changing. Some work around the property itself.
Yes, I think people are used to seeing us out in the yard, trying to make it greener than it was the day before, and pulling every weed. And
do people ask you to start like a landscape service as well? Because you guys do have a beautiful.
People ask, yeah. But really, there's sometimes 4 of us out there in the yard pulling weeds and mowing. So not everybody has that at their house, and it just comes down to that. We take time to mow and manicure and treat it and all the things and flowers. Unfortunately, I love history. I love the history of Titusville. I love the architecture. We have the building itself, our front of the house, is an old oil mansion. I believe it's one of the Henney families, and it has been added on to a few times, but the original house is still there. In the back of the house, in the back of our driveway, you'll see what is we call it the carriage house, the barn. We use it as our garage, and it is the same age as the house. Unfortunately, though, when that was built, it was not built on a very sturdy foundation. It was built on railroad ties that have since rotted throughout the years. We noticed issues 10 years ago that, the cupola seemed to be pushing down and pushing the back wall out. The utility wires are right there. So we've been trying for years to get people in and give us your opinion. What do you think we should do? How can we pull this together? So we've had structural engineers. We've had contractors. We've had Mennonite, Amish, your brother's cousins, know-it-all expert when it comes to foundation work. All of them have come in, and all of them have said the same thing. You need to tear it down. It's too far gone. It's not. It would cost 5 times what it would be to rebuild it. So this next week, if you walk by the funeral home, you'll see we're going to have a team of guys come in. They're going to tear it down by hand so that we can save every good piece of lumber, every beam that somebody would want. The weather vane that sits on top, we're going to take that off, get it powder coated, and put back on the new one. But yes, the building is going to come down, and we're going to rebuild it in likeness, not as high, not as big, but it will be same look, same color, trying to keep so it looks like it belongs with the house.
That's great.
And keeping all of the wood that we can inside to people that want it. So trying to preserve, but at the same time, it is coming down.
Yeah. Well, it would have been easy just to say, hey, we're going to take it down and then just put something else up. But it sounds like there's been a lot of careful thought into saying, we want to kind of rebuild what was there and keep that history alive.
Yeah, last year, I don't know, January, February, we got connected with LIGO Architects out of Slippery Rock and explained this to them. This is important that we have a garage that looks like it needs to be here, not just a 4-stall garage that has space that we can put our stuff in. We want it to look like it belongs here in Titusville with the corresponding architecture. So they drew some pretty amazing plans, I think. It's a lot of back and forth. Everything takes way longer than you think. I thought we'd be doing this last year, so we're a year plus into it, but excited for to be able to use it. It's more functional and it's safe. It's been the one engineer told us, he said, if we get real heavy snowfall, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole thing just collapses on itself.
Wow.
So all winter long, I've just, just kind of like, oh boy, please don't be the one that,
And this was the winter we had.
Yeah, and this was the winter, and every time I would see the forecast, I was like, is this the day that it's going to, but thankfully we got through winter. So just peace of mind knowing it'll be a safer building.
Well, you were saying that you're only using a small part of that large structure to begin with. So now, once it's rebuilt, you actually have, storage space.
Yeah. Right now, it does its job. It houses our vehicles and some mowers, but that's about it. The upstairs we can't use. Some of the side rooms we cannot use. So yeah, excited to have a building that you can maximize space. And really, we do a lot of other work in our garage now too. So just having a more secure location, that's the goal.
Yeah. So expected time that they'll be working on this?
The guys that are coming in to do the teardown are starting Tuesday, hopefully, and then contractors, all local guys, will start building foundation work probably June. And then building it up starting end of June, early July, and hope to have it, near completion this fall.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
excited, but also understand that it's not going to be everybody's favorite thing to see a building coming down in historic Titusville, but we're doing our best to make it best of both worlds, I guess.
That's what you call respectable there.
Trying.
Right there. So, yeah, that's
Trying.
good. You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Joe Anderson with us here this morning from the Garrett Funeral Home. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. And, we were talking about just a difficult time for individuals, for families, when there's a passing of a loved one or a friend. And there's so much that's going through that it's hard for a lot of people to process everything all at once, and you're making decisions. While it doesn't take the pain away, it can make the process easier if you pre-plan for a funeral. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and shout out to the Benson Memorial Library. They hosted a forum or just a community gathering a couple months ago. It was myself, Charlotte Joyce, attorney, and Hospice of Crawford County. And we just, as we're always trying to do, talk about planning. And it's the last thing you want to talk about planning for. But I've yet to meet anybody, and any funeral director would probably say the same, that came in that had things prearranged, had their affairs in order, that did not mention out loud, I am so glad we did this. I'm so glad we were prepared. It was just so much easier. I've got so many things going on in my mind. I've got things that I don't want to think about, and this is already done. So while it isn't something that we want to talk about, it's not easy to talk about, it is so important. And I understand there's different layers to that. Just doing an inventory of what do you have, what stuff that you have, and maybe going and talking to an estate attorney, setting up a will, finding out who your beneficiaries are, finding out how much stuff do you have, how assets do you have that you need to account for. That alone does a lot. And then on top of that, those people that come in and they say, hey, I just want to give you some information. I want to talk to you. You had my family, mom, dad. I want to give you some of my information. These are some things that I would like, but I don't really want to talk about all of it. I just want to give you some info. That's fine. Some people want to come in and I want to pick out to the memorial card. I want everything written down. So when this happens, my family knows exactly what I want and they don't have to make any decisions. And that's great. But on the other side of it, it does catch people off guard, and people that come in that, well, what do you think mom wants? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think that? Well, what did their dad do? And we kind of have to break down best decisions, what we think, and it does add stress. So preparation is key, and we are very blessed in this town with I think some excellent state attorneys, Schaefer Law Firm, Charlotte Joyce, and others. They just do such a good job of preparing people, giving you a checklist, because everybody's situation is different. I mean, there are people that are different stages of life, if they're going into a nursing home or long care rehab, things that they need to have in order. There's just so much and so many rules and so many laws for each individual. It's not the same. So preparation is key, but these people are so good at telling you what you should do and getting a checklist together just to prevent you from losing things that you don't want to lose in the end. So
what's the process like? Do they call and schedule an appointment to sit down with you? Is there a packet that you get? I mean, kind of walk through that process.
Yeah, so we have on our website, if you go to GarrettFuneralHomeInc.com, there is a tab there that says prearranged. Some people don't want to talk. They don't want to come in and speak to us, or they don't want to talk on the phone, which is fine. And you can get on there, you can fill a form out, and that kicks over to our email, and then we can email back and forth. I can tell you some things that we need. Some people, though, most people would call and they say, hey, I'd like to come in and just talk. Just like we're doing right now, we'll sit down and we'll talk. Better chance than not, we had somebody in your family, and I'll just kind of look up and go, compare family history, and we'll sit down and go through what are your wishes. And that's an ever-changing thing. When my grandfather did this, everybody did the same thing. There was a visitation the day before, there was a funeral the next day, and everybody went to the cemetery. And then they probably went somewhere for a lunch. And that was pretty much consistent for every funeral they had. Now, there's choices. You can be buried, or you can be cremated. And if you're going to be either of those two, are you going to have a service? Are we going to have a funeral service? Are you going to have some visitation before that? And most people say the same thing. I don't need any of that. I don't need anybody. I don't want a viewing. Nobody needs to see me. And I understand that. And I probably don't care what would happen to me but I understand that I have family and you have family. And whether we think that we're helping by not having anything and we're just bury me, just cremate me, it is so much more beneficial to have some kind of service. And that is what we try to talk about the most. Once we get information, we have your family history, your background, things that you've done. In talking about service, that is where we try to explain the benefits of service and bringing your family and friends together, even if it's just for an hour, even if it's just for it's not a 3-day. And I think a lot of people think, well, back in the day, I don't want all of that, and I totally understand. But having a service is so important. Whether there's a casket there, or whether there's an urn there, or just a picture or something, it is so important to every life deserves honor. Every life deserves to be celebrated. And we as humans, I think, we think we're helping our family by don't worry about that. Don't just save and don't waste your time with that. I don't need all those things, but it's important. It helps us grieve. We're going to grieve, and we can choose to do that alone, or we can choose to bring family and friends together. Maybe it's public, maybe it's private, but the thing that we like to say is it's just easier for people to come in to our building where it's a peaceful environment to give you a hug and say, I'm sorry for your loss, rather than where they would see you at Walmart or somewhere where it's just, that's not where that moment needs to be, but it happens. And so we're just pro service, I guess, more than anything. And so that's what we explain those things and the many, many different options that can be. But I think ultimately we want to see people's lives celebrated. We want to see people in our community be able to come in and pay their respects to other family, other community members, and that's our desire. So.
Is part of that if somebody wanted to pay ahead of time, so they're not worrying about it once there, or have a payment plan? What sort of options are there? Yeah,
great question. So if some people they want to come in, hey, I want to prepay this, and they write a check, we take that money, and we by law we put that money in an account that grows in interest, and that money is specifically used for your funeral cremation expenses, and that it does not count against you as an asset. If you had to go into a nursing home or something like that, that would not count against you. That money is set aside, it's protected. Other people, they say, hey, I have an insurance policy. I want to make you guys the beneficiary of that. So people come in, and again, depending on the insurance company, people will do an assignment. They'll change the beneficiary, the ownership of the policy to us. That also protects it. That's the state recognizes that that's being used for your funeral expenses, so that it gets out of your name, it's in our name, and we'll, when the time comes, claim those funds. Some people come in, they say, hey, I have X amount of dollars, and I just want to put towards it. And in next year at this time, I'm going to put X amount more towards it. That's fine, and we'll do that. We'll start an account for you. People just make steady payments over the years, and that what they have is what they have. Other people, they have things set up in a trust. Again, if they've went to an attorney and they have things set up through an attorney's office, then the estate will take care of it. So a lot of different options.
So the best thing is to call, maybe schedule that appointment to sit down with you and then have this conversation, or you can start by going on the website, getting some information there. Joe, good to see you this morning. Again, there's a lot of options there. So tell us how they can get a hold of you if they want to call.
Yeah, you call the funeral home, 814-827-2631. You can get on our website, just shoot us a message, say, hey, I'd like to stop in. You can drop by, ring the doorbell. Usually somebody's there. We might not be able to meet you that day, but definitely we'll get you in. We've got different brochures and packets of things we'll give you, things you can read about. Maybe you're not sure what you want. Maybe you just want to come in and talk and review things, and we'll do that too. So a lot of different options. Or if you see me at a Little League baseball field or a wrestling tournament or somewhere, I'm usually somewhere around town, just grab a hold of me and tell me you want to come in, and we'll do that.
Joe, good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.